So we have United, the New York Stock Exchange, the Wall Street Journal, all very quick to say today's issues technical glitches. But in light of recent hack attacks, could there be more at play here? Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson says, no, not the case.
It appears, from what we know at this stage, that the malfunctions at United and the Stock Exchange were not the result of any nefarious actor. We know less about the Wall Street Journal at this point, except that their system is back up again, as is the United airline system.
Greg Keeley is the COO of Ghost Systems and a visiting fellow at the National Cybersecurity Institute. Great to have you on the show, Greg. I just want to bring you this breaking news. The New York Stock Exchange saying right now, crossing the wires, said to be close to reopening 2 halted exchanges. So I guess that would mean that they've been out, if they come back up anytime soon, Greg, for at least 2.5 hours, pushing 3 hours. Reuters is reporting that right now. So what do you make of that, Greg?
Gretchen, great to see you again. Look, this has just been a triple threat of attacks today. The stock exchange obviously is the major one. United Airlines again, Wall Street Journal and others. For the stock exchange to go down like it is today, for the administration to come out so fast and so vehemently and say this is not an attack, I think it's a little bit disingenuous. There's been on Twitter all day today claims from North Korea that they're behind this attack, and that's very, very possible, okay, as are a number of other actors.
Well, let me bring this to your attention, and if we can put up this graphic on the screen. There was a tweet from Anonymous, an hacktivist organization. Here's what it said. Wonder if tomorrow is going to be bad for Wall Street. We can only hope. There it is on your screen. This was put out yesterday. So what do you make of that, Greg?
Gretchen, it's just another one of these strange coincidences that are being brushed off today by the administration, by the DHS and by the FBI. I just cannot fathom how this is possibly a day chock full of coincidences. These are major attacks. You just have to look at how badly the OPM attack went. That started off as 4 million people hacked. Then over a Friday or over a weekend, it became 18 million people hacked. And I think by the end of this week, you'll see it's 40 or 50 million people have been hacked just through the OPM. So this is the same administration that's now telling us, oh, don't worry about it, there's no problem here. You just have to look at the coincidence on coincidence on coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any politics involved in this. I mean, I think everyone would agree that Capitol Hill in general is behind the times on trying to figure out what to do about this. I mean, way behind the times. I mean, just today you have Comey testifying about hacks in an unrelated area. So what do we need to do?
Well, Gretchen, a big part of the problem here is our playing field is very static. We need to move into an environment where our cyber defences are a moving target for the bad guys. If the bad guys can't see the target, they can't hack the target. The thing that troubles me the most is that there's technology on the shelf right now, commercially available technology, that can plug these holes, yet the government, since Snowden, since Manning, since OPM, are too gun shy. They're too gun shy to pull the trigger and deploy these technologies and defend the nation. This is a major attack, and for us to bury our heads in the sand is very, very troubling.
Okay, so the government would be responsible for the New York Stock Exchange having, filling those holes, and United Airlines filling those holes?
Well, I guess it is sort of a whole US solution, a whole Western world solution. I mean, the United Airlines, for instance, transmit their flight data without any kind of encryption. Now, you can then attack that point to point and get inside their system, and who knows what you can do to an aeroplane. There is no way that United Airlines, to my mind, can be hit with 2 technical glitches when you look at what happened with Polish Airlines. It's just not feasible that this is all happening at once and that it's all some kind of technical glitch.
Okay. As I reported just a couple of minutes ago, it's said that the New York Stock Exchange may be up and running, but that is only according to Reuters right now. You believe, Greg, that all of these could be connected. We're going to have to stay tuned and see how this all plays out. Greg Keeley, thank you so much.
Thanks, Gretchen.
All right, let's go on now to another alert. Are we going to Shepard Smith now? Okay. Shepard Smith is available with more breaking news for us. Shep, what do you know?
You know, Gretchen, the level of irresponsibility on behalf of the last speaker is really difficult for me to quantify. What we do as journalists is listen to the reporting of the agencies. And everyone who knows anything about this has reported to us in the same way that they always do, that these things are not connected, that there was a glitch on Wall Street, that United had a problem of its own, and that what we have here is a grouping of separate incidents that happen to have come on the same day. If you'd like more fuel for the conspiracy theorist fire, there's also a series of thousands of power outages, which at this moment, as far as I know, are inexplicable in Washington, and a morning commute from hell in New York City, where subway trains suddenly stopped at traffic at stations all across the 5 boroughs of this city for reasons which, to my knowledge, are inexplicable, and I read about these things on social media. Put them all together in a soup, and does not a soup make? We cannot say that any of these things are related, that some sort of attack is underway, because social media says that North Korea is claiming responsibility. That is not a source. And right now, what we need to not do is spread some sort of panic that is not realistic, that doesn't have any place in today's work. We have a series of things that people can get all weird about on social media if they want to. But unless and until somebody in charge who's actually looked into things and has a grain of sense and a bit of knowledge comes forward and says this is something connected, unless and until that happens, we should probably stop it, because it's not any good for anybody. It just seems it's crazy. Gretchen, don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was questioning him on
the
government's, responsibility to plug the holes at United, and I think everyone would agree that Capitol Hill is behind times on legislation with regard to this. But is the government responsible for United and the New York Stock Exchange? And these are all private entities.
These are things that the government has been worried about. An attack of the kind that he talks about, they've been worried about that since the mid-1990s, when there was, Congress got together and said, what happens if, because there is no question we are the most vulnerable nation on the planet, because we are the nation that relies most heavily on this sort of connectivity that is in peril on a given day. Granted, this sort of thing is possible, but if we want to take the jump that, well, they've just told us lies about what's happened today, we can do that, but we probably ought to wait and find out what really happened. Here's another thing that's confusing to me, Gretchen. The stock exchange itself is all messed up downtown, and yet trades are happening. I'm watching the ticking on the big board.
Yeah.
So is it just for those people who stand around like mannequins in the building who really don't have much worth anymore anyway? The vast majority of all trades happen through the computers. Right. Is that all that's down? And if so, who cares?
Yeah, well, apparently there are 11 other exchanges where trades can currently still happen.